Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's February 4th of 2023. This is a Saturday. My son's birth certificate came. Man, it took a long time. I mean, I paid extra for it, and UPS Air or something rather. They would fly it, I guess, to the airport, and I guess they have a station there or something, or, that loads and puts in right directly into UPS. I mean, and it took forever to get here. And I paid, extra for it. And then it turns out I didn't need it because my son found his billfold. His billfold wasn't stolen and his card wasn't missing. But anyway, now we have his birth certificate. He'll need it one of these days for some reason. Been messing with the computer system here. I'm not sure if I made any progress or not, but some things didn't work out the way I thought. When I hooked up the other system over here, some things that worked before didn't work now, so I don't know what's going on. We, for years, have been using a portable, well, not portable, but ice making machine. It's not a refrigerator that has an ice maker built into it. That'd be nice. But, it's a unit, and you have to put water in it, but it doesn't take, you don't fill it every day or anything. And so it's been, the other one broke. And so anyway, it's been, I don't know how long ago we ordered. I'm looking over here at the, anyway, it's arriving today between 3:15 p.m. and 7:15 p.m. I guess they use gas. Is it gas or whatever it is? When the unit gets here, it needs to set for X amount of time for the gas or liquid in there, or whatever it is, to settle. And so anyway, I got that to do today. The snow and the ice. Well, I walked from here. The only place there was some ice right outside our door. Then I went all the way over to the mailbox. Where the apartment mailboxes are. Zero ice. The only place, it's probably gone by now, but it was right outside our door here. Let's see. I mailed a letter to my son. We were living together down in Miami, Florida, when he was going to FAA school. And I ended up being the person on his list in case if something happens. I'd be the one to say, pull the plug, pull the plug. He was an SOB. Just kidding. But anyway, I contacted him, and I also was for my oldest daughter and her husband. I was their designated plug puller or something or other. Anyway, I sent them both, emails a week or so ago saying, hey, I'm 81. I'll still be if you want me to, but maybe you want to find something. And my oldest daughter immediately replied, said, yeah, we'll find somebody, locally or whatever. And, the same with my other son, but he wanted me to mail it. He said he didn't remember doing it. And he said, so mail it to me. And he didn't want me to send a copy, digital through the mail, or I don't know why, So anyway, I mailed that today to him. Trying to think of everything else that I need. Oh yeah, I mentioned this before. a friend that I went to grade school with, and then we went from grade school, from St. Vincent's uh, grade school to De La Salle Military Academy, and his parents moved after 3 years, so he didn't attend the senior year, and he really loved De La Salle Military Academy and the Christian Brothers and just the whole thing. And so over time, I didn't find it out immediately for a long time because I'm the class of '59. I don't think anybody knows that I even attended. I mean, I didn't miss much school, but I didn't go to one sporting event. I can't think of anything that I went to. And I was in the Ground Observer Corps watching for enemy aircraft. I was in civil defense. I was trained as a radiological monitor. I was the person who was, I guess, supposed to go out when the nukes hit, and with my Geiger counter, and went back and said, okay, it's safe now or whatever. What else did I do? Well, I was putting out monitoring. I was tracking Earth satellites. Tracked the first Sputnik 1 that went up, and put out numerous mimeographed and printed publications, and I just did a whole bunch of stuff, but I did absolutely nothing at school. Anyway, this friend of mine, Fred. So anyway, when I found out that they had a alumni thing and that type of stuff, I saved a bunch of this stuff, and then Fred and I hooked up again. We didn't meet physically, but So anyway, I've got just about. I told him, eventually I would get it to him, this stuff, because I tried scanning it. That didn't work out too well. And but I've got a thick envelope now, and I'm gonna search a few more things. Yeah, I got stuff stacked up here like crazy, and then I'll be sending that to him, and he'll appreciate going through it, and because he actually did things. And two, De La Salle Military Academy, they had there's 4 home rooms each, 4 home rooms, and 2 of the home rooms, it was this way, I guess, each year. 2 of the home rooms were for the smart kids, and Fred was in one of those. And of course, you know where I was, and I was in the dumb home room for 4 years. That's not a surprise to you? What? You're not surprised? And I went to summer school for 4 years in a row. I flunked typing, bookkeeping. Yes. And I didn't want to take typing because I thought back then, 1955 to 59, I thought just girls type, but I'm glad I learned to type, touch typing or whatever. But what I found out fairly recently from Fred was I mentioned to him that I had a younger cousin who was 1 year younger than I was, but he ended up being a year ahead of me. And then when at De La Salle, he was, an officer, and I was just a sergeant, and not that I cared about anything except I would have liked to have the sword. I mean, that would have been that's what I would have cared about. But well, I do have one thing. That's one reason too. I haven't sent this stuff to. There's our thing that they had about the one of the officers who was an instructor for us there, and he was of course in the reserves or something before World War, and then World War II started. You know, he went in and he was sent to the Philippines, and then the Philippines fell, and he became a prisoner, and then he was in the Bataan Death March, and he survived that, and all that type of stuff. So I'm I'm going to scan it and put it on, you know, put it someplace. He deserves, I'm sure he has, someplace I'm sure there's information about him and you know, that type of stuff, but I want to scan it and I'll put it someplace. I'm not sure where it'll go on my, you know, YouTube site. Too, what I'd like to do, speaking of YouTube site, is, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to listen to myself. And but I would like to delete the stuff that's crap. You know, I mean, so over the years, there's a lot of stuff that I have on there. The times have changed. You know, that I complained about something, or that I told a story about, you know, about something, and it's, you know, outdated. And I'd like to go through and delete it. But my problem, as you know, is in my videos there's a bunch of stuff that's put together. I wish I had. And I've been for years. I've been saying that I wanted to segment it, you know, so you could just look and then you know, oh, okay, he's talking about such and such a cell phone here. Okay, he's talking about this piece of software here or whatever. Instead, it's all lumped. Most of it is all lumped together, and that's not good. But it's just the way I am, and I've never had a, you know, a script or anything, and then I start talking about something, and then whoop, I'm talking about something else. This is my Avery Media. It looks kind of like, I wonder if I messed the, looks a little too bright. I've got the razor. Well, I told you about that in that video, maybe yesterday's video before. When I made these changes here to the system, my cameras wouldn't work. And I looked for, you know, drivers or something that would make it work on, you know, whatever, on, this is Windows 11 and this is Chrome box, Chrome operating system. So, but what I actually, then I just switched the cameras, and it works great. So that worked out for me. There on the right, by the way, you can see that's that is Manicam there, and then next to it is my other screen over here. So, and by the way, I still, now I need to make the change again on this over here, the Chrome. I got 800 or 900 speed down this morning, but I was moving everything around and I wanted to make sure. And then over here I've got 100. I just did it a while ago. I'm getting 156 down, but it's because of the cables. So I need to figure out how I need to. I think what I'll do is run the one cable over to here. That's getting like 800. 800 is a lot for me. It's not surprising. I pay for 1 gig down, but don't usually get 800. But I get 600, you know, 400, 600, you know, 700. But I think if I run the little longer cable, go over here and then run from this box over to this box, I think I'll get them at, because I did the other day or whatever. So that's a little project on for me to do. I've been losing quite a bit of weight. I checked the mailbox today, and I haven't got the thing from Mitch. My doctor filled out the paperwork so that I can use Mitch, and I mentioned that before. I talked a little bit about it. It's more expensive than going to the bus stop. If I just go down here or go up the hill, it would be cheaper just taking the bus. But they come to the door, and you have to call them a day ahead of time, and they come to the door. If my ex-wife uses them, she's in a wheelchair. She's wheelchair bound, and but I'm just old. And but anyway, they'll come, and then you have to tell them when to pick you up, and so you have to, when you're going to the doctor. Now they'll take you any place, by the way, in Fort Worth. It can be a recreational thing. You could go visit a friend, or something. So, but I'll be using them. My daughter Hillary, who, years ago married a man in Sweden, and she was there for I forget how many years, 7 years, 9 years, or whatever, and then she came back to the United States, so she's a dual citizen. But she lived here in this apartment complex for, I'm not sure how long, 3 years, 4 years, can't remember how long. But now she's about 45 minutes or an hour from here in a small town. And I don't want her driving, and she's been driving and picking me up, taking me to the doctor's office, things like that. So I'm going to use Mitch. And she's got an older car. She makes good money, but she doesn't really spend it on her. Well, she spent thousands of dollars on her cats, and I don't know how many she has. She has a bunch. She has to give insulin shots to one of them, and one of them actually, it stopped breathing and everything else, and she took it to the vet, and the vet said, you need to let it go or whatever. She wouldn't do it, and they revived it, and she's got it, and she's it's not going to last long, but she spent thousands of dollars on that. But she doesn't really, well, she spends it on herself in, solar cells and panels and sort of stuff I'm interested in, And I can remember when Radio Shack came out with a little tiny solar cell. Wow, I bought a bunch. I can remember when the first transistor came out, CK722, I think. And I bought some of those and hooked them up and blew up a couple, So I'm interested in that kind of. She never bought an Airstream travel trailer. That's something that I wanted back when I was single and living with my parents. I could afford it, and I wanted to put pontoons. I was a welder for many, many years, and I was drawing up sketches and things to, get a Airstream, and then turn it into a boat. And I was drawing up and everything, but what I didn't know, of course, I would have found out from an engineer or from somebody. I didn't know, okay, how many, pontoons do I need to, attach to the bottom of that Airstream to get it so it would float. I was afraid I'd put, some pontoons on there and launch it and it'd go down or whatever. But I was also thinking about purchasing an island off the coast of Canada. You could do it back then, and I forget, it was, I don't know, $100, $200, $300 or whatever. And I think you had to do some type of, and of course these islands didn't have any, they didn't have, they were off the coast of Canada, and they had rocks, I think, but I think you only had to do like $150 worth of work or something, and you'd do that much, you know, trying to get some kind of a water supply in there or doing something, you know, you would have done that. But I did own an inch of land in Canada because Sergeant Preston, uh, that was a radio program. There was Sky King and all. I'm looking at the pop-up things here, you know, saying thanks for tipping and stuff. Mail has new messages. I wondered, you know, when I was a kid, you know, you bought some type of cereal and you sent an X number of box tops to Sky King, you know. No, it was Sergeant Preston. Okay, Sky King was a different one. And so if you sent enough, you got 1 inch of land in Canada. And well, when I was grown, many years later, I thought, where's my inch of land? Somebody wrote into like the local news. Well, I don't think it was a local paper. They wrote into the newspaper chain, but then it was, you know, printed in the thing, you know, answers or whatever. And somebody wrote in, probably a bunch of people, where's my inch of land? And of course, what Canada did was, well, not Canada, but the, you know, the radio show or whatever, a big piece of property. So you didn't have like a 1 inch of land with a little late thing sticking in there, and they just had enough for, you know. But that was kind of neat being a kid, and I owned an inch of land in Canada. But Woody Allen movie. Woody Allen movie. Was it Radio Time? Let's see. Oh, I can do it over here, can't I? Let's see. There's a really good, you know, old movie. Well, not real old. Let's see. Woody Allen, let's see. Radio Days. From Wikipedia. I'll put a link, by the way, underneath this, but that Radio Day, well, you can read it, can't you? Radio Days is a 1987 American comedy drama film written and directed by Woody Allen, who also narrates the story. The film looks back on an American family life during the golden age of radio, using both music and memories to tell the story. During the 1930s and 1940s. I was born in 1941, by the way. And it really gives you, you know, I mean, I'm not Jewish, and I didn't live in New York, but I'll put the link to this underneath it. But it gives you a really good, you know, idea of the time back then. Let's see. I guess I can end this for now and upload this, and I'll put the link below. See, did I want to ask you guys something? Let's see. I think I did. Yeah. You know, I think I wanted to ask you about, well, you probably already know what hardware I'm using. And I know I can just do maybe, you know, several of you already answered it if I could find it in the thing. I want to upgrade my B-Link micro, you know, mini computer, and maybe my Chrome box, because my Chrome box needs more memory. It needs a SSD drive, I think. I don't think there's one in there. Anyway. Anyway, thank you very much. Oh, by the way, I want to do my regular thing. If you could use if there are any links below to, Amazon, please try to use those links, or just use the link. Go to Amazon, and then if you're there and you purchase something, I'll get credit for it. And I think it's been 6 or 7 months, and I haven't accrued enough money. And this month, or was it last month, I guess, I did make $89. So that's I'd like to do that every month, or make it get up like to $100 a month. That'd be a little extra money to buy toys with, or land in Canada or something. Sergeant Preston. The Shadow Knows. Yeah, anyway, please try to use the link below. Thank you very much for watching.